The Battle of Pavia was an incredibly important moment in European history. The events took place on February the 24th, 1525, around the town of Pavia, which is about 20 miles south of Milan. It was a decisive victory by the imperial army of Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, over the French army led by the French king Francis I. And as a result of this, Francis ended up being imprisoned in Spain for a year.
So what is Europe at the time? Europe doesn't exist. What is Italy at the time? Italy doesn't exist. We cannot understand the Battle of Pavia if we think in contemporary terms of nations, patriotism, and geography as we know it today. They want to go to the battle, they want to win the battle. It's more chivalresque and heroic.
The battle was a combination of surprise, a combination of strategic advantage by the imperial forces. Armies of this period were made up of almost a patchwork of different forces. On the imperial army, we had German mercenaries, Spanish troops, Burgundian troops, and on the French side, we had French troops and Swiss mercenaries. And certainly the capture of the French king in the middle of the battle was a shattering and very demoralizing moment for the French army.
It was a very short battle, about 2 hours, and during the night, in the winter, so there is no light. It's difficult for us to understand the darkness of the world before the invention of electricity. What was new was the mobility of firearms, so it transformed the logic of the battle itself.
Historically in Europe, warfare had been very much a matter of brute force, armor, pikes, swords. But in the course of the late 15th century, we start to see guns powered by gunpowder, shooting bullets. But it's not really until around 1520 that we see the more portable arquebuses, what we think of now as almost as muskets. And we see those being used in the Battle of Pavia. Indeed, it was a bullet shot that killed the horse of the French king so that he couldn't escape.
Compaiono nella battaglia di Pavia i primi corpi già organizzati di archibugieri. Sono tutti armati con archibugi alla tedesca, quindi calci massicci, canne quasi di derivazione dalle bombardelle manesche della fine del 400. Molte sono le armi bianche pure che compaiono. Le spade da lanzo con una particolare forma di guardia ad esse, ma soprattutto sono le armi lunghe, armi inastate per colpire cavallo e cavaliere. Questo qui è l'archibugio realizzato per Ranuccio Farnese nel 1596. Osservando dall'interno si può capire la complessità del meccanismo di sparo a ruota. Questo invece è un archibusetto da caccia, sistema di funzionamento a miccia, molto semplice rispetto alla ruota. Questo sistema a miccia quindi si ritrova anche sugli arazzi della battaglia di Pavia. Questo essendo costruito poi quasi un secolo dopo la battaglia di Pavia, ha tutta un'altra finezza e leggerezza di costruzione. Gli archibugieri erano solito portare a tracolla una bandoliera con dei contenitori in legno di bosso contenenti la dose giusta di polvere da sparo e corni legati ai fianchi. L'evoluzione delle armi da fuoco rendono inutile, completamente inutile l'armatura, la difesa del corpo umano dalla piastra metallica non ha più senso.
When I study something, I like to go to see the site. Today, well, of course, Pavia and the suburb of Pavia have changed since 500 years ago, but you get the scale of the battlefield. You still can see some landmarks which are the same that in the Tapestries. You see the city partly within its walls. You see the Ponte Coperto. You see the river. You have this connection with the battle. You feel the battle, actually. You feel the ground.
For us today, we can understand that this was the construction of Europe. But no one at the time had the idea of constructing Europe. No one at the time had even the idea of constructing a nation.
The Battle of Pavia is fascinating as a work of art. It's fascinating as a record of a historic event. It's always also of great interest for what it tells us about contemporary warfare.